So let's see what else you tweeted recently. That was super, so I know you're a big crypto Bitcoin guy. That is something that I've never really dug into too much, but you did have a post that was very interesting. Let's see, where was it? You asked a question if what was it now? Where did it go? If CDBCs were what was it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Financial,
That sounds familiar.
yeah. Shoot, man, where did it go?
So I asked my audience if they thought CBDCs, which stands for central banking digital currencies, were a form of financial surveillance. And I think the majority of the respondents voted that yes, it is. The comment section even mentioned uh, like Canada freezing bank accounts and China surveilling. So it was nice to see what people thought about CBDCs. But I think there's not enough information about CBDCs out there. I mean, or there is, there's just not enough people that are informed about what they are. But yeah, that was a survey I posted, and the majority of people voted that it is a form of financial surveillance. But like you mentioned off camera, we're already being watched all the time, right? Uh, but CBDCs, I do believe, can give powers to maybe not somebody or an entity that you may not want to have those powers, where it could take advantage of that surveillance. So we've seen those examples in Canada, Australia, and China, where there has been some limitations placed on where people can spend their money. And I do believe CBDCs give the government access to controlling where you can spend that money. And that's why I'm a big believer in decentralized finance.
Can you kind of explain that a little bit more? Because like I said, I know a little bit about this stuff,
Yeah.
but definitely not as much as you.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So DeFi, also known as decentralized finance, is no one controls it. So if you think about fiat, um, I mean, there's even people on camera from the treasury saying, "Oh, we could just print more money," which devalues the currency or pushes up inflation, and now your dollar's worth less, or your dollar has less purchasing power. Versus decentralized finance, for example, Cardano is a big blockchain that I believe in. No one controls it. No one can turn it off. No one can decide how you spend it, right? So if you accept, I can actually pay you in Cardano. So I could be like, hey, Mark, send me some tourist stuff from Hawaii, right? Like a keychain or a shot glass. I'll reimburse you. If it's okay with you, I'll pay you in Cardano, right? So it could be a means of exchange, and no one else can influence or control that. So that's what I mean by completely decentralized. So like your wallet cannot be frozen and stopped versus a bank account, as we mentioned earlier in the examples of Canada and Australia and China, right? Or even now you're seeing it sometimes. Say you want to go to the bank, right? There's already been reports where you go to the bank and you can't withdraw your money because banks are allowed to lend 10 times more than what they actually hold. So sometimes, yeah, the money isn't there. And sometimes because it's not decentralized, they can say, no, you can't withdraw your money today because I don't like what you tweeted, Mark.
Yeah,
But decentralized
yeah.
finance, that digital currency, um, you know, as long as you have said, hey, yeah, I'll send you a shot glass, a keychain from Hawaii, you know, the mailing fees are $6, whatever. Yeah, you can reimburse me. I can pay you in Cardano, which is a cryptocurrency, a decentralized currency, and you can accept it, and no one can stop you from accessing it in your wallet, or no one can stop me from sending it to you. And if I send you more than 600, no one has to report that I sent that to you.
So I guess my question would be, so let's say you did pay me in Cardano. Now, how would I use that? Like if I needed to purchase something. So let's say like right now, if someone doesn't accept Cardano, can I convert that to fiat currency, or I just have
Yeah,
to find someone that accepts Cardano?
you could definitely convert it to fiat currency. And this is where I think the US is behind compared to other countries as far as adopting this technology. Um, but for example, I know some people that can liquidate it by other means. So if you want to buy a watch, for example, on the secondary market, someone could accept a cryptocurrency as a form of payment, right? And just go from wallet to wallet, one party to another, no third party involved, no government involved. But yeah, if I send you Cardano, you can definitely exchange it for a different currency that is acceptable. So let's say you travel to El Salvador, for example, you can in your wallet, not all wallets, but some wallets, you can swap your Cardano for Bitcoin, and then you can use Bitcoin as a regular currency out there in El Salvador. So that's one example, right? So a lot of countries are not on the same page when it comes to that. Some are more crypto friendly, like El Salvador or like Portugal. So at the moment, we're still at the stage where you may want to swap it for fiat, or you may want to find someone else that is comfortable in accepting that form of payment. So if someone wants to buy a property from me, I'm okay in accepting Bitcoin for that property. I have no problem with that. I'll take the risk if it goes up or down, which I don't think will go down, at least not in the long term.
So I guess my other question or concern would be something like, usually when something is effective or works well, then the government wants to become a part of it. And I guess that's my thing where who or what to prevent the government from getting highly involved, I guess.
You're seeing that now with the Bitcoin spot ETFs. And you can, for those that are more familiar, you can relate that to gold, right? At one point, you couldn't even carry gold in your pocket if you're traveling, right? So I read or heard. I don't know. Maybe you can confirm for me, Mark. Sorry.
Man, I am not that old. Well, I'm just going off of what Robert Kiyosaki always talks
Exactly.
about,
I
how
got
he,
that from Robert
right? Yeah.
Kiyosaki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at one, he said at one point, right, gold was illegal, which makes sense, right? I think Richard Nixon was the one that took us away from the gold standard. So somewhere around that time frame. Uh, but yeah, going back to what you were saying before we get a little more off track, um, you kind of seen that now. They're pushing for a Bitcoin spot ETF. Just yesterday, I believe the Congress told the SEC to go in and approve these ETFs. Um, but that's the beauty of decentralized finance. A government can step in and try to control it, but the creator of Bitcoin is anonymous, so no one knows who he is. And the blockchain technology is already there, so you can't go in and change it, right? So next year, there's going to be a Bitcoin halving, which for those that are not familiar, is when the rewards to the Bitcoin miners are cut in half, right? So there's always going to be a limit of 21 million Bitcoin out there. Not all of them are in circulation yet, but throughout the years, more and more are going to hit the market. But I mean, at the same time, it's less, right? So the last time that happened was about 3.5 years ago now. They hit the market. That's going to happen again next year. So they'll be hitting the market again, but it'll be less than last time. So there really isn't any control as far as the blockchain technology goes, but they could implement exchanges, for example, like Coinbase, where you can go buy crypto. They could watch those. So they could say, report to us. If you want to do business in the US, report to us every transaction over 600. If you want to do business in the US, make sure you get everyone's ID and social security number that's on your platform. So they could do it to that extent. But again, if it's just a party between A and B, like you and me, I mean, that's the beauty of decentralized finance, right? It's like back in the day. All right, you give me 3 seashells and I'll give you a block of salt or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, so were you into real estate before you got into like cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, I was aware of real estate before cryptocurrencies,
So what
for
got
sure.
you very passionate about cryptocurrencies?
Well, I'm always in a learning mode. I'm always open to learning, right? And when you're poor, you're always looking for ways to make money. Or at least me, right? I was always looking for ways to make money. So I don't remember exactly how I came across crypto. But now that I'm doing a Stay Winning podcast, I'm definitely taking it more seriously. I'm more aware of the terminology of Web3 of the blockchain technology. And it's hard to keep up with that sometimes because it's just growing so fast. Like every day, there's like a new update with something. So I do my best, try to update my audience. So thank you, Witness, for your support out there. But I was in real estate or interested in real estate before I was interested in crypto. I did own property before I owned any crypto. It's easier to open up a wallet now and buy it on any exchange versus what it was back then, where I feel you had to be a little more tech savvy. And I think at that age and at that point, maybe I wasn't confident, but yeah, I owned real estate first before any type of crypto.
I love it. I think that's why you're such inspiration is kind of just your mindset. Like, you could have just been satisfied with real estate but like you said, it kind of goes back to our beginning of our conversation about pocket watching. You could have easily said that, people doing crypto or Bitcoin, they're getting lucky or whatnot. They bought it when it was super cheap.
That's a
But
good point.
you decided to like dig into it and look into it and like you said learn and educate yourself, and I think that's it's just that's how what separates people, right? And there's a lot of people that are going, they people bought it when it was dirt cheap and that's why they made their money, but you, like you said, you always learning.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's a great example of what pocket watching could have been. But like I said, there's 21 million of them, and I'm like, well, let me get some. Now there was a point where I held some Ethereum back when it was like 100 something dollars. I had about six of them at that point, which they'll be worth over 6,000 now. But I hit some. That's when I lost my job and I had to sell it, right? But I mean, it was a win. It kept me alive, and those $600 ended up being, a couple thousand. So I was able to still eat and all that stuff. But I'm glad you mentioned that. So for anyone listening, that is a great example of what pocket watching could have been. Um, but even now, it's not late to join Bitcoin or embrace any type of blockchain technology or Web3. I still believe we're way early. There's better technology now. However, the one that's most adaptable at the moment to the world is Bitcoin. Um, but yeah, if you think it's late or if you think someone got lucky, oh yeah, that they bought it when it was like 5 cents and now it's 26,000. That's okay. You can still grab a piece of it. You know, maybe 2 years from now you're gonna be say, oh yeah, I got it at 26,000. Now it's worth 100,000. So embrace it. Embrace decentralized finance. The way the economy is going, I think more people should be embracing this type of technology. It's literally digital gold. So a couple minutes ago, I mentioned that the Congress was pressing the SEC to approve this Bitcoin spot ETF. If you take a look at history and you see when they did this with gold, gold is shot up. I believe that's around what 2003, 2005, right? You see the price of gold was like this, and then they approved it, and it was just, you know, and now it's down. And because it's down, I still think more people should turn their eyes on Bitcoin because it is digital gold, right? If you look at gold, I mean, you're not going to carry that in your pockets, right? But if you carry a Bitcoin, you can just carry it on your phone. And for all you know, I could have $100,000 right here, Bitcoin. You don't know that, right? So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, for me, I I think it's just like you're saying, you always got to be learning. And if you get comfortable where you're at, you're going to get left behind. And that's, you may not invest in crypto or Bitcoin, but you still need to understand the importance of it and how it works and how it might be changing things.
Yeah, it could definitely be changing things. I mean, it's changed El Salvador. They actually teach it now in their curriculum at school, which is great. I mean, you take a look at the US, there's only a couple of states that just implemented financial literacy in high school, right? And it's just the basics, like what's a checking account, what's a savings account, which is a great start. But you have countries that are more advanced, not advanced, but more adaptable to this technology, and now they're teaching it in their school. So I mean, they're years ahead compared to the world, right? So just think about what that can do for that economy. I mean, that's amazing. But yeah,
Is
always be learning for sure. That's the message.
is part of it, I don't know if it's true, but is part of the benefit too is because like you're saying, like El Salvador maybe, not everyone has access to a bank account or checking account. So like, most people have cell phones, I think. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's why the cryptocurrencies, it's beneficial because it allows people to make transactions.
Yeah, I think that's another benefit of it. I'm glad you mentioned it. So I personally do have family in Central America, and I'm very familiar now that even the poorest of poor have a cell phone. Maybe that wasn't the case 10 years ago, but now it's really that easy to get. It's probably easier to get than warm water over there or hot water over there or clean water, right? So that's how easy it is to get a cell phone now. So it does provide that solution as well. Now there's technology, specifically in the Cardano community. There's a token named MELD, and the whole goal is to make banking available for everyone. So there are places, I mean, just look at Hawaii, for example. I don't think there's any big banks, right? Like there's no Bank of America there. There's no Wells Fargo there, to my knowledge, right? There's none of those Citibank, JP Morgan,
Yeah. Yeah, no.
right? So
Yeah.
that's just one example. I mean, there's other reasons why there's not, but just take that for example. So not everyone has those banking opportunities. But then you have Starlink providing internet, right? That's the goal. Then you have World Mobile Token who's trying to provide cell phone services to everyone. Um, and then Mail that can use that technology to provide banking options for everyone. So yeah, you can actually borrow money, lend money, stake your money, invest it. And I think it could do a lot of good, especially to the middle class in the US. So for example, right now, if you want to get 7% interest return on your money, you have to lock it for like a year, right? And if something happens and you want to withdraw it, yeah, you can, assuming there's no political influence on it. Um, but there's a penalty you got to pay. And then maybe you lost all your gains because of that penalty, right? So like in month 4, you had an emergency, you had to withdraw your money, you still had 8 more months to go. But what this technology allows is you can actually stake your money or your crypto, earn interest on it, and it's not locked. Meaning you could take it out at any time. So you're earning that 7% and your money is liquid. I mean, so that technology is something that I think could definitely end up saving the middle class. If you see where the middle class and the economy is currently going, it's something that definitely I believe, maybe not in the US, but other countries where that could be the case. So I'm glad you brought that up. It does provide those type of solutions as well.
Maybe I know a little bit more than I thought I knew, but I don't I don't
That's
know
great.
enough. Yeah, I know, like I said, I mean I read it because like I said, I want to learn about it. I want to stay up to date on it. It's just, yeah. Uh, But for those people that concerned about, I think, spying on us and surveillance, I mean, you might as well not have a cell phone if you're worried about that, I think, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they use your cell phone and see, no, you were there. You were there when that robbery took place.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I told you, but even like some of the AI stuff I do on some of the editing
Mm,
things, and you put I swear it listens to what I talk about because it just does a generator, and
whoa.
then there's like superhero characters coming out and
Really?
my pet cats and stuff. Like it's weird. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, AI is another one. Um, but if anyone's gonna walk away with any message here, is that there's only certain things you have control over, but you do have control of how you react to things. So I don't think there's any stopping of Bitcoin or crypto. I don't think there's any stopping of AI. So all you can do is invest your money wisely. What companies are pushing out this AI? Okay, cool. I'm gonna go invest there, right? So we're that early and we're that new where if you missed Apple in the 80s and Amazon in the 90s, oh, hello, you have AI now and you're that early, I believe. So embrace that. You do have control over that about where you put your money. Um, but yeah, AI can be scary, but there's no need to stress out things you don't have control over. And I'm glad Elon Musk brought up um, security with AI. So, you know, he's someone of influence. So he's someone that could definitely bring a little more peace of mind to that type of technology. But we'll see. I mean, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I like a lot of the things that Elon's doing, and you know, yeah, he's a powerful man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So
Yeah.